Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue our comic book movie journey through film, and we are at Fantastic Four, the first one. The second one. The first one was a straight-to-DVD release that is amongst the worst creations ever to grace film. But we're talking the one from 2005, released on July 8th, 2005. It was directed by Tim Story and written by Mark Frost, Michael France, and based on characters created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Tim Story, not a huge name, but a familiar name for those who are big fans of movies. You know, we most recently had The Blackening in theaters. Think Like a Man directed the Tom and Jerry live action movie, directed the Shaft movie from 2019, directed the Ride Along and Ride Along 2. He's been around, and he also directs the sequel to this, and he directed Taxi. Man, dude's got a fucking catalog of just maybe not the greatest movies of all time, but very enjoyable ones. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And I'm so excited to be here. I love this movie. It's not like I said, by no means is this the best movie on our list, but I've got such a soft spot for this movie, man. This was amongst my first theater experiences, actually.
Ooh,
Fantastic Four.
Okay. Wow, so we are getting into that range now.
I was 5 years old.
More common. Wow, yeah, I definitely wasn't in the theaters for this one. I watched it for the first time just now over it. So it's very, very recent for me. And I've heard just horrid things about these movies. I don't know. I think it's like people just love to shit on these movies. It's like there's kind of a very common ground of like the Fox X-Men movies where a lot of people are like, yeah, they're good, but they're still pretty bad. And there's like a pretty common hate on those movies, even though they're not really that bad. But this one, I don't know. All I heard was bad things about these movies. And like after watching, I'm like, okay, people are a little too harsh.
It's a pretty normal superhero movie. You know, I kind of text you, and I might have been a little bit off with this take, but I think it's a little bit ahead of its time in terms of what the MCU becomes. You know, we've been talking about this evolution as like when Blade kind of hit the scene, and it was like, okay, well, this is like, we're getting on that path. And then X-Men came around, and it was like, oh, well, this is even more so what the future of comic book movies has become. And in between there and now, you know, we've gotten Spider-Man and Batman Begins and these sorts of movies, which I think have a unique streak that didn't quite bleed through to the future of comic book movies. But this feels like the first one after those. That's like, yeah, this is the formula. We found it.
An MCU movie here. Because Spider-Man and X-Men, they don't really feel like MCU movies. I'd say X-Men and X2 a little, but still,
they're on their way. Yeah,
but this one is, it's the formula is
down to the littlest details, man. I'm talking. We got comic book characters with just rich, deep history in comic books, and we're gonna go ahead and acknowledge that a little bit, but we're also gonna do whatever the fuck we want. I feel like this kind of sets the tone for that sort of thing, and more so than probably ever with this one, because the Fantastic Four is Marvel's first family. This is one that goes all the way back to the 1960s, and it did enough to make me feel good about the adaptation, but it did plenty that makes it not so good.
Not too knowledgeable on them, but like I just feel that Doctor Doom is a little.
It's not a good Doom adaptation.
That's the only, like,
that's
when I
the
watched
premier example of what makes this movie not a good adaptation.
Yeah, I was watching. I'm like, there's no way this could be the Doom that everyone loves and holds to this amazing pedestal in comics, And I'm like, I'm expecting this to be. I don't know. I expected Doom just to be a little more. I don't know. I guess for the movie, I guess it works, and it's very contained and very. I don't know. But I felt like it was going to be a lot more grand than
something that's inherent to Doom. I feel like is that he's one of those guys who's like, it was just given to you. I had to take it. He had to go out of his way to like. He combines magic and science in a way that creates his powers, as opposed to having some occurring event that gives him his powers. Like for example, if he just like wasn't up there. And he saw them have powers and was jealous of them, developed the machine on his own, didn't steal Reed Richards' work, and then was like, you know what, I'm going to turn this into me, like I'm going to get those powers.
Yeah.
Then I'd have been like, okay, maybe.
Man, he could have even that could have been so much better. He was just not up there during the time. He comes down, he somehow reverses the machine Mr. Fantastic's making to try to like get rid of their powers. But, if they don't contain the storm or whatever enough, it enhances their powers. So, like, maybe he could have just used that to give himself powers, or something. Yeah, that's, No, like, while watching, I was like, all right, some of this stuff is very, we're just going to do what we need to do for a movie, Like, obviously, if they're trying to set up, like, his whole arc and every little detail about Doom, I'd say it's probably just cause for a longer movie, and I don't know, maybe they just needed a fast
they do some allusion to some of the comic basis, they're like, maybe you should go back to Latveria.
Yeah, I heard that. I'm like, is that the only mention? Is that the only time that's going to come up? And like,
yeah, and they do a little bit of something at the end where he's like on the Latveria shipping, like it's a Latvian shipping company, so he's getting shipped back to Latveria quite literally.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, he did all right, in his role, like for just having, I don't know, like it wasn't terrible. He worked with, what he had. I don't know the actor's name. He definitely won't get my performance. Julian McMahon.
McMahon.
Oh, that's man.
Typically how it's pronounced.
That makes
that's
more
the same
sense.
way that Vince McMahon is spelt.
I just don't see I don't even think I've seen the spelling of Vince McMahon either.
No, definitely not one that you could.
Okay.
It doesn't look the way it sounds by any means.
Mahan. Yeah, but no.
No. It's it's passable. It's not like it's the worst adaptation we've seen so far, but it's certainly not honorable, especially given that like Latveria has a lot of the characteristics of characters from Latveria have a lot of crossover with like Romani people. So like having just a straight up white guy and being like, this guy's from Latveria, like, okay, sure.
That's
cool.
True. Yeah. No.
So there's a few things there that are a little, but another good example of something that's happened time and time again in comic adaptations is that Johnny Storm might be a tad old. He might be a little old. I texted you this as well. The Chris O'Donnell, Robin walked so that Chris Evans, Johnny Storm could fly.
This is why. Okay.
Yeah, there's they have a little bit in common there where it's like traditionally when you're getting an origin movie or an origin story of the Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm is a teenager. Like he's supposed to be kind of on a similar footing to like Peter Parker. Like that's kind of they have a kinship in comic books because they were granted powers when they were teenagers. And all of a sudden had a responsibility greater than their own.
100% not a teenager.
No.
Yeah,
Johnny Storm's got to be 20-something in this.
Yeah, a decorated NASA pilot that got kicked out of NASA. Yeah. So, like, yeah, he's like mid-20s
at
least.
minimum.
Yeah, like
No. So that's the other thing is that Chris O'Donnell's and just kind of personality wise, Chris Evans delivering the line, chicks dig the car. I could absolutely see that. I could see him ripping that line word for word from Chris O'Donnell and it being exactly in character for this Johnny Storm. So like there's a few things that I think they have quite a bit in common, and it does end up falling in this similar way that you feel about Robin, where it's like, yeah, a lot of the things this guy says and does would make a lot of sense coming from a 16-year-old,
Yeah, because he is kind of a very immature mid-20s, early 30s guy. Like, I don't know. I guess he's just that guy though on Earth. I mean, he's just I don't know. He's I mean, I still think, I like his performance of the movie. It's the one I'm actually going with. Like, he's getting my performance for the movie. I just thought he was hilarious, and like he just owned the character, I think, the most out of anyone. Like,
my performance as well.
Yeah, like everyone else did all right, but like you could just tell that they were, I don't know how to say it, but like I think Chris Evans just actually loved playing this character. Like,
until like stuff like this is why people were like, Chris Evans is going to be Captain America, because this is kind of what he did until then.
Oh, really?
He played a fucking douchebag in everything he was in until he was in Captain America. Like Not Another Teen Movie, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Okay.
All these, this is kind of his bag. And he's an incredible comedic actor, which he kind of loses through Captain America as well. And he kind of got to regain this sort of sensibility as far as like a different kind of douchebag, but a douchebag nonetheless when he played Ransom in Knives Out. He kind of regains a little bit of this douchey air about him.
Yeah, that's weird. Like I have like the inverse view of Chris Evans. Like, I've only known him as Captain America, like, because I didn't watch this movie. Yeah, like I've only known him as the goody, hey, language, even in there. But now this is, I don't know, it's completely the other way around.
Yeah, like that's people were like, that guy's gonna play Captain America because he'd been nothing but a douchebag. So like
polar opposites there.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's kind of what proved that Chris Evans has some fucking chops, man. Like, that man can act his ass off. He just got kind of typecast because he's a good looking guy. He's a good looking man who looks like he could be a bit of a douchebag, especially with that haircut. You buzz it all off like that, and you got a certain douchiness about you that's undeniable. But yeah, man, I went with him for performance as well, simply because, like I said, he is living in that role, man. He's having a good time, and I think you can make an argument for Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm. Yeah, I think that he did a really good job. He gets my character. I just love the Thing. I think that if there's any character who's my favorite in the Fantastic Four, it would be the Thing, because and that's more based in comics, but I also love the struggle that character faces in this movie. If like I'd conceivably believe that if you titled this movie The Thing, it would still work exactly the way it did. Like, it's,
yeah, that was rough. His girlfriend, hey, I'm outside, come outside. Like, she's like, oh, no, just instantly was like, goodbye. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, not even like a little hesitation. Like, not just boom. I was like, damn, this dude. And then like, he has his hero moment and he saves everybody and everyone's cheering for him. She comes up and is like,
he's a hero,
here's the wedding ring, mister. Goodbye.
She's like, you might still be the same guy, but I can't get past this, dog. I love Ben Grimm, and historically, like, I love Jack Kirby, the artist who created Ben Grimm. And this was kind of his self-insert when they founded Marvel Comics. This is the character that he saw himself in. He's a Jewish character, created by a Jewish artist who was also from the Bronx, I believe. I think it's the Bronx that they hail from. But and so that's the other thing that could only lead to a better adaptation, is if Ben Grimm was played by a Jewish guy. But even so, Michael Chiklis did pretty well in this. They got half of it. They got a quarter of it with the Bronx, like real New Yorker vibe going on there.
I like Michael Chiklis a lot because for this, I've only seen him in, maybe I've seen him in some other things, but Gotham, the Netflix show. He comes in as commissioner for a little bit after one of them either dies or steps down. I don't know. He becomes commissioner, and then he eventually becomes, I think it might be the executioner is the character name, but he's like judge, jury, and executioner. He goes crazy. He's like, the law can't do any. I am the law now. And like,
I see.
I knew him as, and I don't know. He did really well though in the show, and then I did really like him here. He was almost my character because I feel like, I don't know, he just had a lot, like, just a better kind of story than a lot of other characters did.
Oh yeah, like his story I think is the pivotal one in this movie.
Oh yeah.
You know, like it's kind of the axis for which the story kind of turns around, because when Doctor Doom wants to fuck things up, the first person he's got to target is the Thing. And how does he do that? By getting to his soft side and being like, yo, we can make this shit happen. You know, we can get you back to normal. And I'm all right with the solution they come up with, whenever he's like, my friends need help, gotta go back into the big orange rock body. I'm like, okay, you know, I'll take it. I feel like it's a long walk for a short drink of water with that solution. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm a sucker for it. I love the friendship is more important to me than anything else, and I love you guys. You know, that sort of thing. That's cool with me. I'll take it. So like, I went with Ben Grimm as the character. I love that character at large, and I think he's definitely my favorite character in this movie.
Yeah, that was my scene of the movie. Probably was the curing of him initially, and then like he's fighting Mr. Fantastic right after, saves him, and then like, I don't know. I feel like that's like a really like kind of a part of the movie where I'm like, I'm kind of in. Like, I'm like, you know, like there's some VFX and stuff that don't stand up necessarily to today, but like none of that like takes me out of the movie and like, oh, I hate it because of it.
Right.
But like when it got to kind of that part of like, we're one down, you know, 3 more to go, and like, I don't know, it's kind of like, ooh, okay, like this is kind of getting fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I like Doom. Like the slow kind of deterioration of him. I thought that was actually pretty cool. Like for, you know, if it's not totally comic book accurate, at least like for the movie, like there was just this, like, you saw him slowly just get more and more insane and like kill that one dude that fired him in the parking garage. And then after he does that, he's just walking through the hotel. Like that poor doorman just got it, you know, he was like, you know, just there. I don't know, was Stan Lee one of the doormen? Like a doorman? Or was it a mailman maybe or something like that?
I think he was a doorman. Maybe he was a mailman. Regardless, he showed up at one point. He was like, hey, mister, here you go. He's like, thanks, mister.
But no, I don't know. Doom was, I don't know, I really like that scene. Like it felt just kind of like, from that point on, I was like, oh, like I was just kind of not necessarily on the edge of my seat, like, oh, I fucking riveted by all of this. But it was just I like the last act wasn't as crazy as I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. Just the stuff I heard about these movies, I'm like, okay, I don't know what they're going to do at the end of this, but it's going to be some.
It's a relatively simple solution.
Yeah. No, and it was, I guess just
nice little callback, you know.
Yeah.
Hey Doom. Hey Victor, what happens when hot metal?
Little chemistry lesson for you, Doom. No, I like Mr. Fantastic. I think he is my character, but man, does like some of his line deliveries just come across as like the nerdiest shit of all time. Like, I don't know. Then like,
I think they kind of knock him out of the park.
It was
an adaptation. Like, he does a pretty good fucking job.
Yeah, like he's so like scientific about everything. Like right off the rip, like when they get back after the storm and the spaceship, he's like, well, we can't. Let's not jump to conclusions, guys. You know, we don't know if our bodies have been completely altered or whatever. And then Johnny just walks in. He's like, I was hot everywhere. And he's like, well, yeah, no, definitely the storm has altered our DNA. and like him just being like oblivious to Sue, and like him being like, "No, I'm happy for you guys," you know, like, and just I don't know the kind of love story. It wasn't like, I don't know. I felt like it could have been written a little better, and like just the Sue was kind of just another. I don't know.
I think they hypersexualized Jessica Alba quite a bit in this one.
Yeah, I guess the need to get naked, to be fully invisible, I guess it makes sense, at first. But then, like, why not just give her the suit, like, right away? Like, it's pretty easy. Like, maybe do it one time, and she's like, I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
As the suit from there on out. But, like, in the comics, is that even... Because, like,
I don't think it's even something they necessarily conceive of as a problem. I think they just make her go invisible completely. Yeah. But I do get the reasoning. Like, if she can go invisible and make what she's wearing invisible, why can't all their powers work with the clothes they just wear? I guess. But even hers could be the most conceivable. Like, you just...
Yeah, but she can literally manipulate... Like I don't know what she says, like what she manipulates, but like atoms, like I felt like if she can do her body, like I don't know, she can literally force field shit, like out in the open air. Like
that's the thing is that like I get why they would say they needed to do this, but they didn't need to do that. I
don't know. There was a funny line of just Johnny being like, "I'm gonna need therapy.
I'm gonna need therapy. I'm gonna need therapy."
But yeah, that was, I don't know, like they could have just given her more of, I don't know what, like, it just felt like she was being used as like a love, just like to push the love story forward, at points, but.
Right, yeah, and the whole Victor Von Doom and Reed Richards love triangle is always interesting to me, I think that's and also the fact that Victor Von Doom, like, at the beginning when he proposes to her, I've never really caught this. I don't think they were dating.
Yeah, I think they even said themselves that it was just like an on and off thing that like, it's just like she's worked for him for 2 years.
Yeah. And then he was like, you know what? I think you're hot and I like your mind. How about we get married? Sort of thing. And it's like, wait, what the fuck?
Maybe that's how billionaires do it, Maybe maybe that's just how it happens. I don't know, but yeah, it was out of nowhere. It was just like, like, and I guess like he thought he was like, I mean, he opened up those windows and like showing her the world. He's like, yeah, you usually guys say that like they can give you the world, but in my case, I actually can. So now you must marry me because I'm literally so rich that you must marry me.
No, I think I always have really enjoyed the origin scene. This is one of my favorite origin events in all of comic book movies. I think it's a really cool idea, and is relatively comic accurate. Like them getting hit with an energy wave out in space, and that being what makes them the way they are. That's pretty spot on. And I like the way you see the way it's like affecting them as it hits.
Yeah.
Like you watch Mr. Fantastic stretch and Invisible Woman goes invisible for a second and then comes back. And I've always really enjoyed that scene. But my favorite scene was actually everything on the bridge after Ben has been denied by his lady friend.
Aww.
And he goes up on top of the bridge and the dude's about to jump off and commit suicide.
What do you think it's so bad for?
Yeah.
You think you got it
bad?
Yeah, like, what a way to...
Look at me.
Yeah. Man.
And the dude's like, oh, fuck. He walks out over traffic and he's like, don't go out there, you fucking dumbass. I loved all that shit. But I love a big hero moment, and they got to be just heroes for the sake of heroing, just kind of saving people because they... the thing does kind of cause it, but he had good intentions.
That crash was also insane.
I mean, a lot. The pile up was intense.
Yeah, that was nuts. I feel like they had to do literally just send cars down there. I mean, obviously there weren't people in them. I mean, maybe there were. I don't know, but a lot of that stuff was done practically. Until obviously Mr. Fantastic stretches halfway down the the bruiser. But I don't know. I think it was really cool, like just like an onset of all their powers and showing, you know, like
an unveiling to the world that
and they're still kind of like rusty with them, so they don't like fully know what to do yet, but like they're getting the handle of it. And
when that flammable truck goes up and Johnny sees a kid crying for crying for their parents, and he like covers them. Like, I love shit like that. Just simple shit where heroes do hero stuff, you know, like in a moment of impulse, there's reason to believe Johnny knew that would work because he'd already caught on fire, but he knows he can catch on fire. He doesn't know how other fire affects him necessarily. Yeah. He just kind of did that, which I really, really enjoy. And, I like that. I just love that scene. And whenever it all resolves itself and the cops are pointing the guns at Ben Grimm and they're like, no, like all the people are like, no, don't do that. He's a hero. Like, again, it reminded me like Spider-Man whenever people are throwing the stuff off the bridge of Green Goblin.
That's with all of us. Yeah.
I love
when
that
the city's
shit.
Involved. It's always good. Yeah, it's always good. And then like them in the tent and like they're seeing on the news, like, yeah, they're calling you guys the Fantastic Four or whatever. And like then they come out to the press or the media, or whatever, and they're like, all right, well, which one of you's the leader? And then Johnny steps up.
He's like, that'd be me.
That'd be me. And they're like, all right, but for real though, who's the leader of you guys? And
like, okay, man, sure.
No, I don't know. He always tried to take full advantage of the situation, you know, right then and there he was trying to, and then he's like, screw all this. I'm going to go freaking motocross and just do some crazy tricks no one's even seen before. And then I'm going to tell everyone what our names are on live TV. I'm just going to have the limelight. And like, I don't know.
Whoa, is he flying? That's another great scene. Whenever he just goes to the motocross thing and does whatever he wants, he rips off the suit and he's got the Fantastic Four emblem on him. And they're like, what the fuck is he doing? But right after that, I think whenever they go, when they go down there to like confront him, and Johnny talks a whole bunch of shit on Ben, and so he like crushes a car and throws it in front of him. They've got this I love this was a pretty accurate representation of the relationship between Johnny and Ben, where Johnny is just he nags him and he gives him shit, and Ben always gets mad, but they always ultimately are like, you know what, I love you, buddy, that sort of thing. Reminds me a lot of, and this is for the Star Wars fans, and I think it almost certainly had to be an influence on Star Wars Rebels, but Ezra and Zeb. Big same energy as Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm and Gareth Eberelios and Ezra Bridger. And I absolutely adore that little connection they have, and that's what's so cool about all of them. Johnny and Sue are brother and sister. Sue and Reed have a love connection. Reed and Ben are friends. And Ben and Sue are friends, and they all have it's Marvel's first family, man. I love that shit. It's always made me really, really happy.
Yeah, I was between two lines, and one of them was like at the end when Johnny's supernovaing around Doctor Doom, Sue's containing it, and then it just cuts to the thing, and he's just like, flame on, kid. Like, he's just proud of him, It was like, all right, let's put our differences aside. What you're doing is pretty fucking cool, Like, you're going supernova. And that, I don't know, that might be my favorite shot. I'm kind of like, I was wondering, the only shots that stuck in my head were like the end when like it is the fire tornado and Sue's containing it all, and like you see Doom in the middle. It was pretty cool. Or like the very, very end whenever Johnny just flies around, makes the logo and like Statue of Liberty. That was pretty sick. The Statue of Liberty shot. But
that shit makes me so nostalgic, because that's like, I was watching this movie, I don't know, a couple years ago, for the first time in forever. And I got to the end and he like did that, and I was like, wait a minute. And then it cuts to Victor Von Doom and those shipping containers. And I was like, hold the fucking phone. I saw this in theaters when I was like 5. I can remember seeing it, like specifically the end, because I was a 5-year-old kid, I was in a movie theater. I was probably doing shit you shouldn't be doing in a movie theater, like running around and doing dumb shit. I remember when I was a kid, like when a movie would end, as soon as it would end, I'd run up to the front of the screen and look up, so that I saw the credits like rolling straight up. Loved that shit. But Yeah, man, I love the end of this movie. I think that, it's pretty cookie cutter, but it's super enjoyable. Reed pulling out the wedding ring, being like, yeah, what if we did something about this, basically.
Yeah, it was cute at the end there.
Yeah.
I get like finally, that, and they had that like kind of before that, whenever they're just out, like on the, I don't know, it was kind of like a in Lady Bird. I don't know, whenever like there's just Lady Bird and her friend. I don't know, but then the bridge in the background, it was the kind of the same thing, but it was Reed and Sue, and they were kind of, I think they were out. Oh, that's why the thing got mad. He's expected him to be like working on the machine, but they were out just having like they're like went on a walk or something like that. And
like, oh, look at you laughing it up.
Yeah. But Sue was like, talking about how, she's always wanted a guy that took charge or whatever, and like he just never quite did, and she's like, do you really think Victor, or like, I don't know, like just kind of waking him up, and like I thought it was pretty cliche and cookie cutter, I guess. Yeah, it was pretty like simple love story there, but I don't know. I thought it was for like a superhero movie and like for kids. Like I think that's like, I think it does fine for kids, but I mean,
100%.
Yeah, the adult audiences, I don't know. I feel like they could have. That's the thing, is that like Spider-Man did come out before this, and Batman Begins came out before this. It's like there have been very, very serious and well-made comic book movies, but maybe that's not really what they were trying to do. I don't think this
is what that was necessarily going for, Yeah. I think there's a certain... It's hard to say exactly what makes this different than other comic book movies that came before it, because it does have a little bit, like, there's a little scary shit going on with Doom every now and then. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember as a kid being a little freaked out by him, just being like, oh shit. But beyond that, there's not a lot of mature themes with this movie. It is very easy to understand. And I think that so far amongst our modern Marvel movies, this probably is the most for kids we've gotten so far.
Yeah, looking back at the other, like Blade, definitely not. The X-Men movies are like,
they're on their way, but they're not.
Yeah, like I'd say like teenage or even adult audience there. Daredevil, not kids. Hulk, not really. Catwoman, not really for anybody, I guess. Constantine, definitely not. Yeah, V for Vendetta, no. Yeah, this is for sure, like, I don't know, maybe the most kid movie that we've covered on the whole project, actually. I don't know, like, looking back at everything, and maybe Mask of Phantasm, but no, like actually watching that, I don't know if that really made for kids at all. Yeah, no, I'd say this one is maybe the most for kids. And yeah, I don't know, maybe we, that I think that's very important. Like when it comes, like they're trying to see like how successful they could be with a live action, movie made for kids and comic books. And I don't know, it is kind of the first of its kind, really. Now that I'm looking at it. Let's see what comes. Yeah, another X-Men movie afterwards. Superman Returns, Ghost Riders. I'm trying to think of like the next kid movie, and I haven't seen Rise of the Silver Surfer, but if it's the same tone as this, it might be the next one that is kind of meant for kids, because everyone after that is no. Like Spider-Man 3, I guess maybe Spider-Man 3, but
I mean that's got Venom and
yeah, like The Incredible Hulk, not really. The Dark Knight, definitely not. Watchmen, X-Men.
I'd say Iron Man. It's not necessarily for kids, but like it's supposed to, like, that's the thing about all of these, is that there's nothing on this list besides the R-rated ones like V for Vendetta and Constantine and Blade that I'd be like, absolutely don't show your kids this. Like, all of them are palatable to children by all means.
Yeah.
But as far as like the most appealing to kids, I think this one's got to be top of the list so far.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's and it's just a fun fucking movie, man. I have a great time with it, and I think that it's gotten a bad rap in the comic book movie like circle. When people talk about like the worst movies of all time, they always throw like this up there with Catwoman, and for some reason they also throw Thor: Love and Thunder up there, and it's like, dude, this is closer to Thor: Love and Thunder than it is Catwoman by 1,000,000%.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And Thor: Love and Thunder, I feel like when we get there, I think it's like I don't know. Every time I've rewatched that, I'm like, why is this like undoubtedly the worst MCU movie? I'm like, why? Like I never really understand that. But I guess just dark elves, people, it's all crazy from the beginning. The ether conjunction. I guess there is a lot of crazy stuff that happens in that movie. But I don't know. This one is definitely, I think top of the list on appeal to kids, and it will be for quite a while until.
Well, like I said, I saw this one in theaters when I was 5, and my favorite line goes back to like the line whenever I was a kid, just being like, "Oh fuck yeah!" Whenever Johnny jumps out the window and flies for the first time, and he just goes, "Flame on!" I had this action figure. It was a foot tall, 12-inch action figure of Johnny Storm. It was all orange. He had like heat waves coming off all of his limbs and his head and stuff. And when you pushed a little button, it would go "Flame on!" And I absolutely loved that shit.
That's the best shit right there.
Yeah, flame on, and it's clobbering time.
It's over. It's clobbering time. Did he say that?
You got one in there.
He got one
in clobbering time.
And he's like, "I've always wanted to say that." Or like, isn't that what he said? Like right after?
Because I think it's been. Wasn't it a piece of merchandise?
That's right. Yeah, Johnny comes up to him. It's the proto. Look what the action figure came on. Like, it's clobbering time, and he goes, "Oh, that's ridiculous." He just crushes it. Whatever.
And then he says it, and he's like, "It's not that bad."
He literally runs through the wall, and like Doom goes flying, and like he like kind of is like a Kool-Aid man, but like the Thing version.
Yeah,
him running through the wall.
And like I really enjoy this movie. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's not gonna do bad. I don't think it's gonna be a pretty good little. It's gonna find itself pretty good on the rating system. But my shot actually ended up going to it for no reason. It was fucking gorgeous. It like one of the only shots in the movie that I was like, that is actually a very pretty shot, and it's Ben sitting in a diner while it's like raining outside, and the neon lights are like trimming the window, and it shows him drinking trying to drink a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that poor guy. He had it rough.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think about that. But is that when Doom comes and visits him?
Yeah, Doom comes and talks to him.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. It's I don't know. I'm a sucker for like wide shots and like cityscapes and anything like that, but neon lights, that's another easy.
Always do it.
Oh yeah.
There's a great tweet. One of my favorite tweets about film critics. It was like I gotta find it. We can move on in the meantime, but film critics neon lights. Because it says something about how I can't find it. Regardless, it says something like film critics watching movies with neon lighting. It's a mind-bending existence. The ethereal nature of it is unbelievable. It's just neon lighting.
Yeah. Just I don't know, but hey, that's.
Oh no, I love that shit. I'm a sucker for it.
Yeah, you watch Blade Runner, it's like probably 98% neon lighting, like the shots that everyone is like, "Oh, that's."
Found film critic after watching a movie that features some neon lighting. This movie is absolutely nuts. Like an acid trip slathered in meth, a delirious dive off the edge, a kaleidoscopic extravaganza that must be experienced to be believed.
My God. No.
A phantasmagoric descent into the void.
Wow. Yeah, they're describing a literal trip on like DMT, not just neon lights that are. Just like. I don't know, like every kid has in their bedroom now that can change their bedroom color, and it's almost the equivalent of that, but just a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't
I
know.
love me
I'll
some
admit
neon
to it,
lighting.
though. I'll admit to it. Yeah, if it's up there, I mean, it automatically just makes anything look cooler.
Oh no, it does. It 100% does. John Wick 4, you haven't seen it yet. Neon lights out the ass in that one. John Wick 3, haven't seen that yet. Neon lights out the ass on that one. Mission Impossible 7, neon lights in that one. Like that a lot. Action movies like their neon lights, and I like it when they have the neon lights. It makes it very satisfying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think. Yeah, no. My shot. I think I will. I'll choose the end. The Fantastic Four logo in the sky with the Statue of Liberty. I was thinking about the tornado one, but it's not really as satisfying of a shot as the end. And I don't know. He's just Johnny having fun again. You know, he just running off the end of the yacht, whatever they're on. Like what?
Yeah, I gotta guess that's some sort of yacht.
Like they just saved the city.
Yeah, it was like it was some sort of celebration that was like, "Thanks, Fantastic Four."
Oh, I guess it could have been like Doom's yacht because he's like,
yeah, they're praying on his downfall.
Maybe they're just like, yeah, well, he's gone, so
they're just pissing on his grave.
Yeah, like let's just take out his yacht, you know, or what? Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but.
One of my favorite parts of this movie and one of my favorite relationships in comics is Ben Grimm and Alicia, the blind woman who he happens upon in the bar, and that fucking scene whenever he goes to sit down on the bar stool and it just cracks under his weight. My God, man, that was so sad. And the bartender being like, "Hey, this is an American hero. You don't fuck with him like that. What can I get you, Ben?" And he's like, "Give me everything you've got and make it a double."
Make it a triple.
Yeah. Love me some Alicia, man. I love me some Alicia. There's actually a relatively recent issue of the ongoing Fantastic Four run, which is one of my favorite comic book runs probably ever, even though it's pretty short-lived at the moment. Can't remember if it's issue number 2. I think it's issue number 2. It follows the Thing and Alicia into this. They go to this little town where everybody's stuck in a time loop. Like stuff resets, and they keep going. Why did shit reset? Like they're like some of the only people who realize it's resetting. They can't figure out why it's resetting. And then they find this dude sitting in a bar who can't get over like this heartbreak, and they have to like walk him through it and like talk to him about it and help him move on. And it's just like a really simple, not actiony story, which I absolutely love when comic books do that. But it just kind of gave you like a good insight into who Ben and Alicia are and how they are to people. And just, I love the Thing, man. And, he's become one of my favorite comic book characters the more that I've dug back into comic books.
Yeah.
I
don't know, it makes sense that like they're going with this one first for like kind of like testing. I don't know, maybe if it was a test for like the MCU kind of like movies that they're trying to go for, but like the family aspect of it, like it is just a really cool combination of relationships that everyone has. Like the back and forth, like it's everyone
has their own little rapport,
and everyone is so different. Like I mean, you have a douchebag, you have a nerd, you have I guess I don't know how to describe. You know, Ben, he's just kind of like a big teddy.
He's the everyman. He's just a guy.
Just a guy. And then I guess you just have just the girl.
I love that they pose the idea that Ben Grimm's a dumbass. Like, he's a little dumb. But he's also an astronaut.
Yeah. No, yeah, dude. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, I just think it's kind of funny that their concept of what it requires to be an astronaut is just being willing to go to space. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of all they've got going. Like, you got to be pretty fucking smart to be an astronaut. They don't let that shit slide.
Now, we have private space, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
So, I mean, it really, you don't have to be really anybody. You just have to have a lot of money now. But before, I mean, it was like you had to spend time in the Navy. Like, I mean, it's like, they were very selective of people.
Well, and that is something that Ben had going for him. I'm pretty sure he was a veteran in this movie, if I recall correctly.
I think I remember that.
Can't remember if it was Air Force. It might have been Air Force in this movie, but
that would make sense. But no, I love like all their different personalities were really awesome, and having like a brother and sister or an ex, you know, like you could tell that like I don't know, Mr. Fantastic and Sue were together at some point, and then he just never made the move, I guess, you know, like where they they were dating for a little bit, and he just never got to second base or something. I don't know. He just never went there. I'm not sure, but I don't know. This is just a really cool kind of a found family before they even went through their like power transformation thing at all. They were already kind of a family before.
Right.
But are they like, I don't know if it's ever confirmed, but is this like, are they just mutants and this storm like activated their X gene, or is it some...
No, they're not mutants. They're just altered humans. As far as the comics are concerned, I'm pretty sure that what they're imbued with is the power cosmic, which is also what powers Galactus and Silver Surfer. I might be mistaken there. My Fantastic Four knowledge doesn't go extremely deep. But I do know that they're not technically considered mutants, like alongside the X-Men or anything. Yeah, it's because I know you watched this relatively recently, the like Dark Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
It was like relatively recently, 2 years ago. There's when she becomes the Phoenix, and like there's the orange energy out in space that collides with her. Extremely similar sort of vein going on there, which I think is very interesting and feels like a little odd, but that is partially how Dark Phoenix kind of goes. That's the Phoenix Saga, like, you know, it is what it is. But
just wondering for the new one that'll eventually come out here soon, if they'll like go the mutant route, like maybe say that it is.
I think the MCU will almost certainly do that.
Yeah, because I see this like Wanda's little like her barrier that extended and that awoke Monica, you know, like that's like has she been confirmed a mutant, or
I don't think so, not yet.
Seems
but
like it seems that like that energy barrier, once you like through that, like kind of, if you have the X gene, or if maybe it could be anybody.
And there's other things too, like with the way they made Miss Marvel a mutant. Like they were just kind of like, you put on these things and look what happened. That's it woke something inside of you.
Yeah, she didn't even go. Okay, she didn't.
So that's my thing, is that I think that whatever they do in the MCU going forward, if there's some event, if there is something that wakes something within you, they're going to call you a mutant. I think that's kind of what they're going to go for. And I do have some concerns as to what that could mean for comic books, because they already just recently killed off Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and they're bringing her back in her own title, where she is being confirmed to be a mutant to coincide with the Marvels and the MCU and do a little bit more brand synergy there. But so it doesn't do a lot, I don't think, to ruin stories by any means, but I think it just kind of loses sight of what the core of the character is. It can anyway. You know, once you start folding people into the mutants on the comic side of things, especially right now, they start to get folded into the X storylines, which are massive and just like year spanning. They've been intertwining, and it's so hard to keep up with. And I know people are probably listening who have read that and are like, it's not that hard. And I'm like, I know, man, but I've tried, and it's not that easy either. It's just a lot. It's just a lot to get caught up in. The cool thing about that Miss Marvel run, though, is that it will be written in part by Aman Vellani, which is really cool. The actress playing Kamala Khan.
That's cool.
So that's very cool at the very least. But yeah, so like if they do start to go like, well, actually, this character was a mutant, and this character's a mutant, and this character's a mutant, because how do you justify Monica Rambeau being a mutant, but not, how do you justify, Monica Rambeau being a mutant without justifying Scarlet Witch being a mutant, which she is in the comics, so that's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a leap to make. But she got her powers the same way Captain Marvel did, who is not considered a mutant in the comics. So now do we go back and consider Captain Marvel a mutant? Is that what's going on now? So like there's just like, where do you draw the line? Is it anybody who has powers is now a mutant unless it was via the super soldier serum or what,
Yeah. And
like is Spider-Man a mutant? Is that what they're like?
Just altered DNA? Like, cause at once I thought it was like, you had to have been part of a mass event that awoke something inside of you. But then Monica Rambeau, that's just, she walked through a barrier a couple times. And then, but Kamala, like that wasn't even involved in any Wanda thing at all. And because I was trying to think like maybe it is this energy storm or something that awakens it because it's what happened, I'm trying to connect it with this movie, like this Fantastic Four, thinking that they were thinking about all of this back then in 2005, where WandaVision would come out, But no, I just thought that like maybe that's the mutant event is Wanda pushes a barrier like on the whole world, like the whole everything, maybe even bigger than the world. I don't know, but because I could see them like that being the new Fantastic Four's origin. It's not some storm out in space. It's like Wanda's field being pushed. I don't know, and they go through that.
Yeah, like it'll be interesting to see what they do with the Fantastic Four. I'm very excited to see what they've got cooking because I like the Fantastic Four a lot. We're recording as of the finale date of Secret Invasion. I don't know if you've had the chance to watch yet.
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't watch it, but I know everything I need to know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting, and as of the publishing date for this episode, that'll be a couple weeks back. So if you want to talk about that briefly, because there's a little bit of a Fantastic Four comics tie there with Super Skrull, which we talked about on the Patreon episode when we talked about the premiere. Where in the comics, the Super Skrull has 4 powers. They have an arm that turns into the Thing. They have the ability to do the invisible stuff like Invisible Girl. They have the ability to turn into flames like Human Torch, and they can stretch like Mr. Fantastic.
That's cool.
And obviously what they've done is MCU-ified that out the fucking ass.
Just everything.
Every single thing that the MCU has ever been is now inside of Emilia Clarke. How you manage that, I don't know.
I mean, is there even like a power ranking anymore? Like
that's the most overpowered character there's ever been, and the only way you can possibly handle it going forward is nerfing the shit out of her, which is like, why do it then?
It wasn't even just like, I thought that they might have been like an old Avengers thing. Like it was like the old Avengers, not everybody, but like they had like the dark evil Squidward fucking DNA.
Yeah.
Like shit. Like
fucking Thanos in there.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, but yeah, that's nuts.
I've officially been released of my shackles. My shackles being feeling like I need to watch every MCU show the day it comes out because I don't want to miss anything.
It was just like, okay.
That was being heralded as MCU's Andor.
When I heard that, I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, that is not even remotely in the same ballpark. We're not even in the same
arena.
It's not even close. It's
a different planet.
Oh my god, no way. Like, I think they were just trying to say like big name actors in a show that can be taken seriously that anyone can watch, sort of thing. Not maybe it's as good as Andor was.
Right. Is this the first show since She-Hulk? It is, right?
Yeah.
Kind of hilarious that the finale of She-Hulk would be like, what'd you think? We were just going to build to a giant CGI fight? Nope, not today. Wait for the next show, though. Then we'll do that.
How much is like that a thing now? You know, like, is the real enemy Kevin? Maybe that. I mean, I don't like.
I choose to take that not very seriously as far as the implications for the MCU. But I do think that
The real villain is Bob Iger.
yes,
That's what they're building
That's the real
to.
villain
The
is.
strike is canon.
the strike is canon.
It's gonna be-
No, I think that, like, my thing is that, like, the lack of patience for a character like the Super Skrull. Fantastic Four comes out in a year. That is a Fantastic Four villain. Or 2 years. It's supposed to come out in a couple years. That is a villain for the Fantastic Four. I get that y'all want to do Secret Invasion, but if y'all wanted to do the gritty spy thriller thing, guess what you didn't fucking need? The Super Skrull. You didn't need that shit. You could have just had Skrulls infiltrating the government at an extremely high level, which they did. And that's kind of all the show needed to be.
Yeah, like the show. If you take the Super Skrull out, it's literally the very end of the show. That's what it ends with, and it's just so that she can kill Gravik. And then it's cool. It's a cool twist, and it's like, oh, it's not Fury, it's Emilia Clarke, and it's like, oh, it's like that's cool. Nick Fury's not there, but you know whatever. And like, so it was a cool twist at the end. But then like, it's just that's it, and it's like, yep, you're really powerful. Let's work together to keep the world safe. And I'm like, that's it. Like I'm like that's what the show ends with. Like really?
Well,
Yeah,
now
I guess.
I'm like, I like Emilia Clarke being prominent, though. You know, like, if that means that Emilia Clarke is going to be in stuff, fuck yeah. You know, I
Either
love
she's
Emilia
going
Clarke.
to be, or they're gonna have to kill her off fast because, like, how do you kill her?
Well, and now are we even going a direction? Like, I didn't watch the show, so, like, you know, I'm talking a lot of shit, but I'm just talking a lot of shit on the general structure of MCU at large and what I know the show to be.
Mhm.
Does she seem like she's going to be a villain entity?
You know and I always forget her name. The kind of female version of Fury.
Olivia Colman. I can't remember what she.
The head of like
character.
MI or like the in Britain. Like I don't know. Kind of like that. She meets with her at like she kills Gravik and then she like is just walking in a city or something and then like she pulls up and stops her and is like, hey, like I'm gonna need to talk to you. And then Emilia Clarke's like, oh well, I can kill you instantly. You know, she's like, oh no, I know that you're definitely without a doubt the most powerful thing that's on this earth. Like how she says like that, and she's like, well, we're gonna need to work together. And she's like, well, I can't just trust you out of the kindness of my own heart. And they're like, oh no, she's like, I'll use you, you'll use me, but we'll keep the world safe. And that's it. And they walk off together, and they get in the car. And then that's the end.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I find it kind of fascinating that they introduced just a British Val.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love Olivia Colman, but it sounds like they're going to utilize these characters pretty much the exact same way.
Mm-hmm. And then like, are we gonna need to watch? Or is everyone gonna need to watch Secret Invasion whenever Emilia Clarke's like introduced in whatever she comes up in next? You know, like, or what does she come up in next? Is it?
Well, people are. Like, I'm pretty sure it was just said that the Marvels is the sequel to Secret Invasion.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that is coming out next, huh?
But I don't get that at all. Just given the promotional material. Another crazy thing about the promotional material, including the idea of it being a Secret Invasion sequel, is that The Marvels, a sequel to Captain Marvel, a film from 5 years ago, will now feature Miss Marvel, a character introduced in a Disney Plus show, Monica Rambeau, a character introduced in a Disney Plus show, apparently a sequel to Secret Invasion, an entire Disney Plus show. That's just wildly interesting strategy. You know, I think that's, especially given that at the end of Captain Marvel, it was said that she was going to go off and look for a planet for the Skrulls. Was that acknowledged much in the show?
Yeah, at this episode, Fury was like, we tried for 2 years, and it was made clear that we couldn't find a home, so we were gonna have to try to make you a home here. And then Gravik was like, well, you didn't do that either, and that was it. But it turns out that wasn't Fury, that was Emilia Clarke saying those things the whole time. So maybe there is still something that's up in the air. Maybe,
I'm just so intrigued by why they would decide to just kind of... Because then that makes Carol Danvers look real bad.
Yeah. Like,
she wouldn't even... She's not helping Earth because there's a whole galaxy with problems. But she's trying to help the Skrulls find a home, which she gave up on after 2 years, apparently.
Apparently the Kree are in peace term, like they want peace, is what was said. Is that the Kree are actually pursuing peace, and maybe that's what maybe that's what she's been doing the whole time, is not like trying to find a new home, but trying to get them their home back, and like maybe just that war has just been going on and on and on.
I mean, regardless, I know this is the Fantastic Four episode, and sorry to get all sidelined, but I think we kind of said all we needed to say about the movie. It's extremely simple.
Yeah.
I'm going to see the Marvels without watching Secret Invasion, just to see. I'm like, I want to know. I want to know how much I can get by without watching Disney Plus shows. I'm just curious.
This is the useless Disney Plus, like, it's...
Well, and then I know that Rhodey's alive. Fucking Everett Ross is alive. Is the only person who actually died Maria Hill?
Yeah. Yep.
Consequences, baby. Wow. That's some...
And Rhodey, they didn't even say how long he's been in there. They just said he's been in there for a long time. And he started, like, he needed help. Like, everyone else could walk out on their own strength, but he was, like, literally so weak he couldn't even move his muscles. So he's like...
Well, he also is paralyzed.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's paralyzed from the waist down.
That would also do it. So, Never mind. I thought that was just their way of being like, no, he's just been in there for a long time.
He could have been in there since Civil War, though, like...
Yeah.
I guess that could be the case.
But
I think I just... I'm looking forward to the Marvels simply because I love Brie Larson and I love Iman Vellani and I love Teyonah Parris. So like I'm gonna see it, and I love the director Nia DaCosta. But I might truly not be far off from cutting ties and just wiping my hands of it. I'm like, I like them, I have fun with them, but it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Yeah, they can't expect everyone to watch all that stuff. Like. I don't know. It wasn't the show that they were making it to seem. That's for sure. Like it's a little disappointing when you watch it.
Is the screenshot like the shot of her with the Drax arm real?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ah, man, that sucks.
She had a Drax arm. Yeah, she had a Drax arm. The evil.
That looks really bad.
Oh, it
like
was
visual
terrible.
Effects wise.
It was terrible. Yeah, no, it was bad. The big fight scene to end it all was bad. It was just not good.
That sucks. Because it's so many talented people, man.
It looks ridiculous. Like, I mean, it's laughable. Because it's like, that just looks hilarious.
I mean, you've got a show with Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn. Oh, did he actually die, Talos? He's dead, right?
Oh yeah, he's
that fucking sucks. Taylor, you got Ben Mendelsohn, you got Emilia Clarke, you got Kingsley Benadir, you got Olivia Colman. All these people are so insanely talented. What the fuck are y'all cooking? You know?
Yeah, and like, well, that's the thing, is it actually ends with Fury and his Skrull wife like going up to Saber together, and like, but she is finally in her Skrull form and is like, you're gonna have to accept me this way now, from now on. And they kiss. They kiss is, he kisses, and like
human and Skrull.
It's like I think it's a cute moment, but it at the end of the day it just looks ridiculous. Like I'm watching it, I'm just laughing because of how ridiculous like it looks. But So yeah, the show ends and you're just like, wow, like I didn't need to watch that.
That's hilarious. No,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm excited to see the Marvels just to see how much I could have used seeing that. And the only reason I can even fathom it having been a necessity is if Emilia Clarke shows up. Because I know Nick Fury's going to be up there, but like, did it become more clear what period of time this takes place? It's still post Endgame, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that just kind of it?
Yeah, it's
kind of got the same ambiguity as everything post Endgame, where it's like, well, this could be before this, and this could be before that, but
nothing tied it to anything else. There was no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just after the blip.
See, and that's my other thing. Is if you're gonna tie everything together, at least tie everything together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't know when Hawkeye versus, well, I guess it's like Christmas time, so like that one's kind of
Is it Christmas time 2023, 4, 5, 2022? When is this? What's going on? What happened here?
Yeah, and Miss Marvel and all of these things, like they seem to
Moon Knight, She-Hulk,
Yeah.
Eternals, Shang-Chi,
there, but
No Way Home, Loki, like just the amount of shit that's come out post Endgame is insane. I'm pretty sure they've put out, if I remember the numbers correctly, like from 2008 to 2018, they've put out more stuff 2019 through 2023 than they did in the first 10 years there.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's not good.
That's just so much stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's just so much stuff. You're crunching your workers way too hard and your VFX artists. And nothing's turning out well because it's not getting the time it deserves. And you just keep pumping shit out there. And hey, man,
I'd rather watch a Fantastic Four movie that doesn't have to do anything with the current MCU.
I'd be just fine with it. And I'm okay if you want to do a giant fucking saga. That's cool with me. Because the first, obviously there were some misses between Iron Man and Endgame. There absolutely were. There's absolutely no doubt. But at least the trilogy's somewhat connected. And then the overarching story made sense.
Yep. Yeah. It was clear and everyone was theorizing out the ass and like waiting for Endgame and like Infinity War and Endgame. No one can take away what that did. Like that will always be a fucking massive moment in just movie history. They're trying to do something bigger
in 5 years, if that.
Yeah, and it's not working. It is not working right now.
So far the multiversal saga, which has also featured like almost no fucking multiverse, by the way, is not doing well. You know, you had No Way Home, you had Multiverse of Madness, you had Loki, which opened us up to the idea of it. Nothing else has even come close to associating with it, though. And there's been like, I think 15 things at least in the multiverse saga, which is...
It has to be What If, an animated show.
Ah, that's right.
But I mean, it's only the last episode that they actually get into it. And then it's a Sony movie that's not even MCU, that's Across the Spider-Verse. That actually it's not it's the multiverse saga. Yeah, that's what they're in it right now. And I guess maybe we don't have all the puzzle pieces, and once one thing comes out, it'll make it all clear and it all connects somehow. But
I think they're with this one. I think that this one's not the one where it all comes back to connect. If I had to guess so. I think it'll connect to some things. You know, and I know that Infinity War and Endgame, they didn't necessarily connect to every single thing that came out between the beginning and the end, but it did a pretty good job of encapsulating kind of everything that had happened.
Yeah.
This, I think it's going to be practically impossible to do it as satisfyingly as quickly as they plan on doing it.
Yeah, they just need time. We need time to sit with these movies instead of having to just, oh, here's the next one. Now I gotta watch this show. Now I gotta watch this movie. You know, there's like all these movies to worry about, and like no one can even keep up. Like a casual fan, good luck.
Well,
Like,
that's what's crazy too, is that like, what have we gotten this year? Quantumania and this?
oh, is that actually it? Yeah. Is Thor: Love and Thunder this year, or was
That was last year.
2022? Okay.
It's not a
Wow.
great track record so far for slowing it down either. So like, I don't know, man.
That's true. Yeah. Yeesh.
I'm like, is that really the only movie? Like, Secret Invasion was the first MCU show of the year, right? Like, I'm not tripping.
Because the last show was She-Hulk, right?
That's as far as I can recall.
And that was last year. That wasn't this year, was it?
No, that was last year for sure. That was August. Oh, Guardians 3. I don't even consider that an MCU movie because it's so focused.
That's true. Yeah, they did. I just haven't seen it yet, so that's why I didn't. I still haven't seen it. That's sad.
And that's the thing, is that they have these little, like, what's been so interesting about Phase 4 and 5 is that there are these moments where it's like, oh, y'all still got it in you. Guardians 3, Wakanda Forever. You know, I like She-Hulk a lot. I know that's not for everybody, but I like She-Hulk a lot. I like Multiverse of Madness a lot. I know it's not for everybody, but I like Multiverse of Madness a lot. No Way Home. I like No Way Home. Like, there's plenty of good shit. It's just, it all feels so schlocky at this point. It's like, let's just throw shit at the wall. We'll see what sticks, instead of developing stuff that they know should stick. I don't know.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it is. Technically, the holiday special came out in February of 2023. So that would be that's the first thing in the MCU in 2023.
The holiday special came out in December of 2022.
Oh wait, yeah. Why is that? Why does it say February? Maybe I just have that on the sheet wrong. Maybe I haven't moved down one.
Maybe that's when we're supposed to put it out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, what? Anyway, oh well then yeah, it'd be Quantumania, Guardians 3, and then the Marvels right next. Yeah. This. I'm hoping the Marvels is good and it can say
The Marvels looks fun at the very least.
Yeah.
Like it looks like, and it's got a great cast. It's got but you know, Secret Invasion looked like it had a great cast, and et cetera, et cetera. But I do truly think that we're in for a pretty good one with the Marvels. I just I don't know how you miss with the directorial team and the lead actors that you have in that movie. Like, if you fumble that, there's other interference going on, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know, it's going to be interesting by the time we get to this new Fantastic Four movie, like how much origin, like, is it going to just, have they been around the whole time? Is it from a different multiverse they're hopping into this one? Is it, it's like, I wonder how the heck they're going to, like, it's hard. Kind of like you were talking about all the X-Men stories, how they just have so many storylines and so many things to intertwine. It's like, at this point, like, how do you intertwine the Fantastic Four? Like, such a long-standing, or supposed to have been a long-standing family that's been around for a while, and now they are just popping up after Endgame and whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're going to have to be mutants, and it's going to be some global event or something that is like, oh, yep, now they're around. And
who knows, with Kamala Khan being the first, like, official mutant that they've dubbed a mutant in 616 or whatever they're calling the universe now. Maybe the Marvels does something. Like, maybe that's when something big happens, you know, like maybe that's when something, maybe that's when they explain, oh, actually, you're all mutants, Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau, and that's why you're all intertwined in some way. Who knows? But regardless, I really enjoy Fantastic Four. I think this is a cute movie. I think that, you know, while it's not the best of all time, we're looking at, like we said, we're looking at some pretty MCU-ified shit here, I think. Pretty enjoyable. Is it the best? Definitely not. But yeah, let's talk about it then. Enjoyment wise, how you feeling about Fantastic Four?
Let's see. Going up with all the other things. Let's see. Recently, like Constantine, that was a 7.
Elektra 6.25, Blade Trinity a 7.5. We were nice to Blade Trinity. Hulk a 6.75. It's definitely in that 6 to 7 range, I think.
Yeah. Constantine, like the 7s are Superman 2, Batman and Robin, and Constantine are the flat 7s. And I'd say I'm probably enjoying those a little more. Or if
I
it's
can't blame you one bit.
It's like Hulk 2003 at a 6.75.
I think I'm on similar footing there.
I'm either on. I think I might put it above Hulk 2003.
No kidding.
It's either on it's either a 7 or 6.75. I think.
Okay, I'm personally at a 7. I give this movie the benefit of the doubt every time, just because I really, really enjoy it, and I've always thought it's cute. I've never thought it tried to reach for anything more than what it knew it was capable of, which I think is, it's charming, and I feel like it's got a lot of heart. And so yeah, I'm comfortable with a 7 and enjoyment if you are.
I like that. Yeah. I think. I mean, it's a lot more fun of a movie to watch. Like if I'm gonna throw on like even out of the 7s, like out of Batman, Robin, Constantine, Fantastic Four, I think I'm going to Fantastic
Probably
Four.
This. Yeah. I'm going to the campier shit. I would probably go to either this or Batman and Robin. Funny enough.
Yeah. And I don't know. It a movie for different moods. If I'm in a mood for a real serious, really, really good superhero movie, I'll go Dark Knight. But if I just want to be blazed one night or something and have a great time,
just have a fun old time.
I don't know. Flame on. Like now it's not. I don't have any nostalgia with it, sadly, but now I can kind of like.
I
understand it. I understand it now. Like
right.
It would be the coolest shit as a kid. So yeah, I think I like a 7 there as
cool.
well.
Genre wise, as an action adventure movie, it does a lot. It doesn't do anything crazy. It doesn't do anything, I'd even argue, good. But it does enough, I think, to at least be on above 5 for the genre.
Okay.
And I'd even argue we're looking at somewhere probably around Hulk level again with a 6.
Yeah. Batman
Blade Trinity
also a 6. And Blade Trinity a 6.
Yeah.
Blade 2 was a 6.5.
Yeah, no, I think we're looking at about a 6 then. Maybe, yeah. Like I feel pretty comfortable with that straight up.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I can dig. Here we go. Add it in there in both places so I don't forget. There we go. Okay. And then
all right.
Adaptation. Well,
I think we're looking, we recently did Elektra, which got a 5 in adaptation because it had the bones, but didn't quite get there. It's a pretty middle of the road adaptation. And I think we're looking at something in a similar vein here. But I would even give it a little bit more credit. I think they did a good job with the characterization of Johnny, even if they didn't get the age quite right. Mm-hmm. I think that they did a good job with, Ben Grimm for sure, besides the fact that they didn't cast a Jewish actor. I think that Reed and Sue were pretty well done. And if you're talking about the over-sexualization of Sue Storm, that's pretty accurate to the comics. Comics have had a tough time with that over the years.
Sadly, comic book accurate there. Okay.
Yeah, comic book accuracy is being demeaning towards women. They've done that historically quite a bit. No, so that's definitely not a strength of this movie or the comics. So it kind of negates things there. You really come down to how much of a problem you have with Doom.
Yeah.
As an adaptation. And the only other big thing for me is Michael Chiklis not being a Jewish man playing Ben Grimm. That'd be the only other thing that kind of got me. And so I end up probably falling around the same point I did as the genre. I think I do end up coming around to 6, maybe even looking at X-Men, looking at Blade 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking I'm probably going to bring that down to a 5.5. Just personally, not a great adaptation.
Below the Blades, but above Elektra and Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. And at a 5.5, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I like. Because you just have more knowledge than I do, but I like Doom was a little disappointing to me, even not knowing fully like Doom's story. Like I still felt like it just wasn't right, even not knowing it.
No, it's not right. And yeah, and you know what? Let's actually go ahead and bump it all the way down to a 5. It's very similar to Batman and Robin, where I think they got the characterization of Batman and Robin really, really well. But then you look at the villain side of things and you're like, well, you could have done a lot better there. So I think a middle of the road, whenever you get half the characters right, you know, what can you do? That's about what it is. So,
yeah, I think it is like, because Batman and Robin was the first one where we were like, well, they did change a whole lot of stuff, and I guess it was fun for the movie, but it can only get you so far.
Right.
So I think it is kind of the same here. That they definitely could have dove deeper into like Doom's story. It's just I think they were like it was out of the scope of the movie, so it just kind of hindered it a little bit. But okay, now critically, I guess. See what would be a close comparison to this? I'm trying to
probably think. Elektra.
Yeah,
for a Hulk and Elektra feel like it's ballpark here. That 4.75.5. I don't think I can go much lower than that. Like 4, we've got Superman 4, which I know this is better than Superman 4.
Yeah. I'd say it's. Is it better made than Elektra?
The thing about Elektra is that it was surprisingly good looking. Even if it wasn't super well written, it was an all, and I don't think this has as much of a visual personality as either Hulk or Elektra did. But I do think it captured a feeling a little bit more. I do think it had a bit more of a charm to it than the others did, which I think adds more to enjoyment than it does critical. So, I mean, I would be comfortable going straight up 4.5, which, you know, last week we gave Batman Begins a 9. So, calling this literally half the movie that Batman Begins is, I'd feel pretty good about that.
I think, yeah, because I think Elektra would actually just be a little bit better made. Because I'm like, I was about to just be like, yeah, I think it falls kind of where Elektra is, but I think it.
The performances might make up for it. You know, I think Ion Grafud is very, very good as Reed Richards. I think that, like, I think it doesn't matter what the MCU does with Reed Richards. I don't think they'll be able to find a better casting for that role than they did here. Like that guy that's fucking Reed Richards right there, man.
His apartment is pretty sick too.
Just rewatched Titanic recently. He has a very small role in that, and I was watching it. And I was like, oh shit, that's Reed Richards. He's very young, and he's just some guy who I think he works either for the boat or I think he works for the boat.
Like is he
out in the water and is like. He's like, "Hello, is anybody out there?" That's him.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I remember like a close up shot on him, like no, he wasn't whistling. That's how Rose.
Another movie that I revisited recently that I've given just a poor shake. It's
a great movie.
That's a fucking 10 right there, buddy. I love Titanic. But I think, you know what? I'd feel remiss to say that this is worse than Elektra. I think that visually might be the only thing that Elektra had up on Fantastic Four. And everything else, I think I'd be willing to tie it with Hulk. I think I would be able to go middle of the road, 5 out of 10.
Okay, that would tie it with Blade 2, Hulk, and Constantine. I think that does sound a little bit better.
That does feel a little bit more right.
Yeah. Good. 4 out of 5, and then that would round it out to a 5.75, which ties with Constantine and Howard the Duck. A little bit above Elektra.
It's good company.
Below the Blades, not Blade 2, but below Blade Trinity at a 6.13. Hulk was at a 6.19. Daredevil above.
IMDb has this at a 5.7 out of 10.
Whoa! Wow. Well, there we go. I think that worked out pretty well.
I love when shit like that happens, when we just calculate it and it's like the exact same as some other shit. Always makes me very happy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And then, what was the good old tomato meter give this one?
Probably even worse by like a lot.
Oh, wait, this is the remake with Michael B. Jordan. Never mind. Is this
28?
Yeah.
28 and a 45 in the audience score.
Yeah. Well,
which makes sense to me. 28% of critics being okay with it makes sense.
A little less than half of the audience being like, all right.
Also makes sense to me. It was where our gut took us, 45%. And I ended up talking myself above it. So I'll be okay with that. But yeah, at a 58 for us,
makes the top 20. It is number 20.
Out of what? 25?
Or 19. No, never mind. 19. Out of 27 now.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's 19.
I mean, there are just objectively worse movies than this. Like, it's just a fact.
Elektra, Superman 4, Batman and Robin, Blade 2, Batman 66, Superman 3, Supergirl, and Catwoman.
I would say that all that sounds right to me.
Maybe we were a little harsh on Batman 66.
We were 100%. The thing about this project, and the thing that happens with all of our projects, is we get nicer and nicer as we go along.
Mm-hmm. We get Batman a 3 critically.
I mean, it is
pretty
good,
but like, yeah. I mean, it was pretty bad, but it was like on purposely bad. Like,
it actually had like the reverse. We gave it 5, 6, 7 enjoyment genre adaptation, whereas for Fantastic Four we gave it a 7.65. So it just kept getting.
Wow. Yeah. And Batman 66, that was the first one that we even did.
We always come in a little harsher than because we always want to undershoot it. We always go like, all right, this is like a baseline. This is kind of what we want to be. And then we end up just revealing ourselves as really nice critics. And it always happens. Yeah. It's inevitable.
None of these movies really suck. Even Catwoman.
I'd argue Catwoman truly sucks.
Yeah, I can't really find much enjoyment with that movie. Maybe you just enjoy it for how bad it is. That's one you can just know is going to be bad when you go in and
true.
Just throw it on in the background at a party and give some people random fever dreams or something. I don't know. But no, this one is I like 5.75. Isn't that what it came out to be? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Still in the top 20, but near the bottom of it. But
hey, we wrap up the first, the original X-Men trilogy next week. Didn't realize we were already there. We got X-Men: The Last Stand next week, baby. Kicking off 2006 for us, which will hold 3 movies, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we're going to do X-Men: The Last Stand, Superman Returns, and Superman 2: The Donner Cut from 2006. We're finally there, which is very exciting. Very happy with that. But yeah, we got a lot cooking right now. We just concluded our director spotlights, which was a rather ongoing project there for several weeks with Wes Anderson, then Christopher Nolan, and then the Greta Gerwig. But we're taking a little pause there up until we still got some decisions to make, but we're hoping either Ridley Scott or the Coens or something. We'll figure something out. But yeah, we got a lot cooking. X-Men The Last Stand next week. We're still doing the Game of Thrones rewatch. We haven't decided what we're doing on Wednesdays as of the date of recording yet. We don't know if that'll be top 100 favorite movies ever or if that'll be the John Wick franchise, but we're covering one or the other. I can promise you that. And that's happening on Wednesdays. We got plenty going on here. If you head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content on that $3 tier and some written content on the $1.50 tier. And that helps us so much. All that money goes back into making sure I can put this podcast on because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it is over there. You get early access to our comic book movie project. As of the date of recording, you would actually get this episode this Friday. You would get it this Friday, July 28th, as opposed to August 11th. Is that when this is coming out? Is that accurate?
Yep, it is August 11th.
Yeah, so coming out August 11th. If you're on Patreon, you get it 2 weeks early, and that's how it's been for the last several movies, and that's how it'll be going forward. So that's, yeah, a little bonus there for the early access stuff. Let's see. Yeah, head to X. Head to Twitter, follow at Penny Bloom Pod, follow on Instagram and Threads at Penny Bloom Podcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening and to download. It means so much when you guys download our episodes. July was one of our best months ever. Actually, it was our best month ever download wise, and I'm hoping August is following suit. That would mean a lot. But yeah. With that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And it's clobbering time.